Welcome, everyone, to the NFL Presidential Address. I am your host, the conductor of the show, Lawrence Presman. I'm excited to be here. And basically, if you've never watched this show before, I go down every game on the board. I give out my thoughts, sides, totals, some passes along the way. And then Andy Lang joins us towards the end of the show. He's got 3 NFL prop bets. Just want to start by letting everyone know last week across the board, up and down, 3-8, not very good. My record to date, 85 wins, 72 losses. I did lose my teaser play as well, 6-2 on the year in teasers, but I won my best bets, 2-1, now 21-8-1 on my best bets. And before we get into the whole show, I just want to say something real quick. Guys, I'm not betting every one of these games, like flat out. I mean, what I'm betting are the plays that I release to my clients. I am trying to come up with opinions on every game. Sometimes I don't have an opinion, sometimes I do. But when you look at a 3-8 record last week and a 4-9 record the week before, these aren't my actual records. I'm not betting every game on the board here. With all that said, 85 and 72 across the board. I'm still happy with that, and I expect to have a big week. I am betting my best bets, and those are 21-8. We got a great promo up for everybody. It ends on Sunday. $99 for anyone's particular sport. So if you want to play Las Vegas Chris's NHL, he's the number one NHL expert at WagerTalk this year. $99 for a month. If you want to play Steve Merrill's NBA, he's killing it in NBA this year. $99 for a month. If you want to play my NFL, $99 for a month. It's really that simple. And to give you perspective, a regular day is $25. So I mean, you're basically getting 30 to 31 days for the price of 4 days, $99. And if I were you, I'd grab my NFL for the next month. So head over to wagertalk.com, take advantage of that. Okay, let's go. Let's start with the Thursday night football game. New England -7 against Atlanta, 47.5 on tap. And let's start with a disclaimer. I have been fading the Pats all year. I faded them last week. I took Cleveland, and well, I have been wrong, period. This has to be the best coaching performance of Bill Belichick's career. And don't look now, but the Pats are rolling. Also 4-0 on the road. Their defense is playing outstanding. Mac Jones is playing incredible. Might set the NFL rookie record for pass completions. Pass completion percentage, just amazing. I'm so impressed with this Patriots team. They're number 6 in the league in points scored. That I find shocking. You know, I really read this team wrong. I thought they were going to be a stone cold under team, and now here they are scoring at will, 6 in the leagues in points scored. But their defense, 28. That's totally incorrect. I am redoing that. Their defense are 2nd in the league in points allowed. Their offense 6th in the league in points scored. This team is so well balanced. It's ridiculous. As for the Falcons team, I don't even know what to say about them. Matty Ice is an appropriate name. The guy's cold. He is so cold, and he has been so cold for ages. Dude is freezing. You put Matty Ice in a freezer, and the freezer would complain how cold it is. The Falcons are the 8th worst team in scoring, under 20 points a game. They are the 4th worst run team in the league. They can't run the ball if it was a snotty nose. Okay, that was a bad joke. With that said, this is a terrible spot for the Patriots. Just awful. I cannot bet them here. I like the Falcons, but the bottom line is, I've sworn off betting on the Falcons, and I cannot fade the Pats anymore. My lean is on the Falcons. I won't be personally betting it. But look, we've seen a crazy, crazy year. Jacksonville at home beat Buffalo. Washington at home beat Tampa Bay. We had Baltimore lose a couple of weeks ago. Falcons here. I can see them win this game straight up. I've just sworn off betting on them. But that is the pick. Take the Atlanta Falcons plus the 7. Next up, we got Detroit going into Cleveland, and we just got word that Jared Goff might not be playing. I don't know if that actually matters, but it does to the line. Last night, it was -10 for Cleveland. Now it is -12. The total in this game, 43.5. There are 44.5s on board. You know, last week I told you guys to take the Lions and even put a little bit on the money line. And you know what? I wasn't right about the money line. You pushed, but I was right about the Lions. Regardless of their records, this Detroit team has been playing tough, and they've really been hanging around in almost every single game. Take away that Philly destruction a couple of weeks ago, and man, they've lost a few games on last-second field goals. They could have beat the Ravens. They could have beat the Steelers. This team is better than their record. As for the Browns, fuck the Browns. I bet them last week and learned the hard way. This team is just not very good, and I don't get it. The weirdest thing is their defense sucks. I mean, think about the players on their defense. Myles Garrett leading the league in sacks, Clowney, Ward. I don't know what is going on with this team. It just does not make any sense. They are the 20th worst team in the league, allowing points scored against them. I can't make heads or tails of the Cleveland Browns. So enough trying to figure them out week after week. I'm just going to simply bet against them. Take Detroit plus the 12.5. Next, we've got San Francisco -6.5 versus Jacksonville. Total in this game is 45. It was 46. Before that, it was 47. So we're seeing a lot of action come in on the under, and I totally agree with that play. 44 runs by San Fran last week against the Rams. 44 running attempts. That shit doesn't happen anymore, and yet San Fran did it last week, and they rolled the Rams. It also sets up an amazing play-action pass scenario for Debo and Kittle. The Niners, man, they got to believe they have a chance to turn their season around. They're right in the mix for a wild card spot, and if that's the case, they have to win this game. But will they cover? The Jags held strong against the Colts and even had a chance to win the game last week. They're playing way better than expected. Their D has been stout the last few games, but their offense, man, they're only averaging 17 points a game, and I don't think they get that many against the Niners. They just have no wide receivers, and the only thing their tight end is good for is penalties. My pick in this game takes San Fran -6.5 and under 45. I have a predicted score of 24-13 San Francisco. Indy playing Buffalo. We have 7s across the board. Buffalo -7, a total of 50. And, well, the Colts have put together a nice 2-game win streak. Yes, they have. They played the Jags and the Jets. But they should have beat Tennessee. And this Indy team is much better than their record states. With that said, the Colts have not beat a winning team yet this year. And I don't think Sunday is going to be any different. But I can't lay 7 here. The Colts are hanging tough on everyone. And they can move the ball on offense and should be able to run on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo had a get-right game last week against the Jets after a disaster against the Jags. Josh Allen was just awesome. Stephon Diggs finally came alive. And even Gabriel Davies went for over 100 yards. What is most impressive about Buffalo, period, is their defense. They lead the league in yards allowed, and teams are only averaging 15 points a game against them. By far the best in football. The Colts are allowing teams to score 23 points a game against them. That's 8 points worse than Buffalo. What is my pick on this game? Look, I know how good the Bills' D are. With that said, both offenses can score. Both are in the top 10 in points achieved. Both are throwing the ball long and stretching the field. depending on weather, and I don't look at weather on Wednesdays, assuming we don't have an insanely windy, snowy day in Buffalo, I'm going with over the total. Next up is Miami, -3, 3.5 now in some places against the New York Jets, a total of 45 on tap. Nice win by Miami last week against the most overrated team on the planet in the Baltimore Ravens. And now they face a team that is just too shit to be overrated in the Jets. The Jets are the 6th worst scoring team in the league, averaging under 18 points a game. But Miami, they're even worse, 17 points a game. Defensively, no one is worse than the Jets. This Jets team has allowed 33 points a game to be scored on them and over 400 yards a game. Miami only allowing 25 points a game. That's a huge discrepancy. Here is the bottom line. This Miami team made the playoffs last year, have had major injuries all year, and have finally started to figure it out. I told you last week they'd beat Baltimore. They did. The difference in this game coming up will be the defense, and Miami's defense is so much better than the New York Jets. You look at Miami's next 4 games, Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets. They can win all 4 and get themselves back in the race, but it starts Sunday. My pick, take Miami -3. And guys, bet it ASAP because it will not be 3 on Sunday. Next, we got Washington playing Carolina. Wow. Both teams with impressive wins last week. Let's start with Carolina. Throw all their offensive numbers out the window. New QBs. That's right. They're running some kind of tandem thing. Christian McCaffrey is back, etc., etc. They looked so good last week against Arizona. Yeah, I understand. Arizona played without Hopkins. They played without Murray. But neither Hopkins or Murray plays defense. And Carolina was able to move the ball up and down the field last week. The Panthers find themselves right in the mix for a wild card spot and only half a game out on the division. Who would have thought that? As for Washington, I don't know, man. One game they can score, the next they can't. But what we do know is their defense is just brutal. Now Chase Young is out for the season. This defense, 5th worst in the league in points allowed, and literally the 3rd worst against the pass. Carolina, on the other hand, best against the pass and 6th best in points allowed. So how do we handicap this game? Well, you have to take the Panthers here. This should come down to D, and these teams are not even close at that side of the field. Plus, what was the anomaly last week? Washington beating Tampa Bay or Carolina beating Arizona? I'd say Washington beating Tampa Bay. I think we have a marketplace overcompensation for that Washington win. Take the Panthers -3.5. Next up, Baltimore -6.5. Now 5. A ton of money coming in on Chicago. And I agree, folks. 6.5 literally on Tuesday, 5 today. The total in this game, 45, which is shocking. 45, a game that Chicago's in. Anyway, how do we handicap this one? Well, let's start with Baltimore. Blah, blah, blah. I've been telling you all year this team is not good. They have no real scoring threats, no real running game, and all they have is a QB and a tight end. As for their D, the vaunted Ravens D, 22nd in the league in points allowed, 4th, good for them, against the run, but literally the worst pass defense in all of football. Well, guess what? When you have the worst pass defense in all of football and you're playing the Chicago Bears, does it really matter? Look at it this way. If you are the ugliest man on the planet, I mean the elephant man, and you are dating a blind woman, do your looks really matter? And that's the analogy here. So what that Baltimore has the worst pass D in the league? They're playing a team that can't pass the ball. Baltimore has been, with that said, Baltimore can't score much either, man. They've been held to 17 or less points 2 of their last 3 games. They might be the worst third down team in the entire league. if you take Chicago out of the equation. The Bears have the worst pass game maybe in history. 144 yards on average per game. There are teams that do that in a quarter. 5th worst running game in football, 3rd worst scoring team in the league. How the hell is this game set at 45? What am I missing here? Who is going to score? Khalil Mack, he's questionable. If he plays, he's going to have a field day. Baltimore's tackle guards are injured. This Baltimore team's a mess. You think the bottom line here, I'm taking Chicago, and I'm taking the under. 2 crappy offenses in late November in the cold and wind of Chicago. This game has got 3-2 written all over it. That's right, 1 field goal and a safety. Okay, maybe a little bit of an overstatement there. New Orleans going into Philadelphia. New Orleans plus 1.5. The total is 43.5. And let's handicap this one. New Orleans had to go on. I have to have a moment. We're having a water. Hard to do this show by yourself. New Orleans had to go on 10 dates with the same women. The same woman. 10 dates with the same woman. They paid the bill every single time at the most expensive restaurant, and all they got was to second base. Man, this team is missing everyone. Winston gone, Thomas gone, Kamara questionable, Vanette questionable. Jesus, even their kicker is out. No wonder they can't kick anyone in the balls. This New Orleans team teases you the entire time, and then they don't get it done. With that said, they almost pulled out a win last week on the road against Tennessee, and their D is simply outstanding. 7th best in points, 1 by far in rush yards. It's almost impossible to run on the New Orleans Saints, but they are bottom 10 in passing, and I think Jalen Hurts might go off, guys. As for Philly, great work last week against the Chargers, and it's nice to see Jalen Hurts coming into his own, especially given that he was benched at Alabama. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to stop talking about this game. Pass! Houston plus 10.5 versus Tennessee. 44.5 here is the total. How can you take the Titans minus 10.5 without Derrick Henry? On top of that, this is a really, really, really bad spot for the Titans. If you go back and look at their schedule in the past, they were playing Kansas City, Buffalo, Indianapolis. If you look at their schedule in the future, they've got a lot of good teams on deck, including some division games. They are going to overlook Houston here. I'm not getting to the window on this game, but I just don't see how the Texans put up more than 13 points. Even with that 13 points, I can see a 23 game. I can see Houston cover. Let's just move on, guys. I'm not touching this game. If a gun was held to my head, first I would use Krav Maga to scoop the gun, spin it around on the opponent, but then I'd still pass. Green Bay minus 2.5 versus Minnesota, 49 on tap here. And while Green Bay, -2 now. We have had a line move. Last week we told you that Minnie was like being catfished, and they did it again Sunday. But this time the ugly duckling turned into Samantha Ponder. Samantha Ponder. Let's have a moment to ponder Samantha. Okay. And now they're back in the thick of this insane playoff race known as the wide open NFC. Green Bay was all out of sorts last week against Seattle, but wow, their D was outstanding. I mean, outstanding. They held Kansas City 2 weeks ago to 13 points. Kansas City, 13 points. Then they shut out Russell Wilson for the first time in his career. Everything would suggest Green Bay is the play here, but my gut is telling me to stay far away from this side. The pick for me on this game is over the total. I know Green Bay's D is outstanding, but I really believe Minnie can put up over 24 points. They're averaging 24 points a game now. They have the 9th best passing attack in all of football and the 9th best running game. They have found a beautiful balance. I think they get more than 24. I think this game goes over 49. Green Bay has already shown they can win low-scoring games and they can keep pace with anybody. Go with over the total. Now we got Cincinnati going into Las Vegas, -1 or a pick, depending on what book you're using. Check out WagerTalk odds page. Total of 49.5. And who are these teams? I bet the over in Vegas last week, and we did win it, but that was not because of the Raiders. That is for sure. Losing Ruggs has really messed this team up. I mean, not as much as it has messed Ruggs up, or worse, the victim and their family. But with all that said, there's nobody on this team that can stretch the field. And that's really important because you need to open up space underneath, especially for Waller. They did pick up Deshaun Jackson, and we did see him be used a couple of times last week, but I don't know if he's the answer or not. We got to wait and see. As for Cincinnati, they're coming off of a bye and are right in the race to win the division, especially given that all the teams in the division suck ass. But maybe so do they. They are coming off of a bye, and before that, they lost to the Jets, and then the Browns slaughtered at home, while the Raiders couldn't move the ball against Kansas City. Kansas City's incredibly bad D, and even the Giants beat them. Guys, this is a monster of a football game for both teams. I mean, it's not must win, but I mean, both teams are going to really help their playoff chances by winning this game. So if given that said, I'm going to go with the strengths of these two teams. Cincinnati is top 10 in points scored. Vegas is in the top half of the league. Cincinnati is top 8 in the passing offense. Vegas is the second best passing team in football. Where am I going with this? Over the total. Next up, we got Arizona going into Seattle, -2.5, a total of 48. It was 50, so we are seeing this game get bet down. I'm going to pass on this game, guys. I expected Murray to play last week. He didn't. I don't know if they're going to sit him this week. He's really crucial to the scenario here. We have no stats on what Russell Wilson does after being shut out because he's never been shut out before. I'm just going to move on to Dallas and Kansas City. We have Dallas +2.5 going into KC. 56 is the total. There are a few 55.5s on the board. The opening line was 52.5. There is a ton of money coming in on the over, and I'm going to make this real easy. Yeah, I've been telling you guys for years, if you listen to the daily presidential address, if you listen to the NFL presidential address, if you watch Wager Talk today, take the highest over, take the highest total over, take the lowest total under, do that blind all year. You will have an exceptional year. We're going with the over in this game. These are prolific offenses, weak defenses. It should be a track meet. I know 56 sounds like a massive number, but if I said to you 35-31 is the end of this game, you'd be like, that seems reasonable. And that is 66, 10 points more than the total in that game. Go with the over. Next, we've got Pittsburgh going into LA, -5.5 of the Chargers. It was -3. Joey Bosa out, COVID protocol. Pittsburgh, man, this Pittsburgh team is bad. I've been telling you guys that all year. We don't know if Roethlisberger is going to play. I don't actually care. I think he's somewhat irrelevant. Mason Rudolph has a hot woman, Eugenie Bouchard. Check her out. Google her. Yeah, I know. There's a woman who watches the show who thinks I'm completely inappropriate. Yes, I am. And I wear it well. I'm taking the Chargers in this game, guys. I think we're going to see a bounce back spot from the Chargers. And the bottom line for me is, although Pittsburgh's got a great D, if the Lions can put up 16 on them, the Chargers can put up 26 on them. And I don't think Pittsburgh will be able to keep pace. I think this game has got like 27, 28, 13-16 written all over it. Take the LA Chargers -5.5. And lastly, we've got the Monday Night Football game, the New York Giants playing Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -11. The Giants, the total in this game is 49.5 with a 50.5 at some books as well. So There's a nice 50 middle out there for you guys. I wouldn't go for it. 50 is not a key number. 51 is, though. Anyway, the bottom line for me is I'm taking the over in this game. The New York Giants are able to score. Daniel Jones is playing well. He's throwing the ball far. They are stretching the field. We're going to see a big bounce back from Tampa Bay, especially in prime time. I look for a lot of scoring in this game. Take over the total. That's it, guys, top to bottom. Now let's bring in the great, the wonderful, the handsome Andy frickin' Lang.
Welcome, everybody. We're doing 3 props in 3 minutes. Shout out to the guy in the messages that kindly pointed out that I completely flubbed the Thursday night game last week. I'm well aware of that, but thank you for pointing that out. It's always good to build on our weaknesses. Let's get into some props. First, Terry McLaurin, under 70.5 yards receiving. You can take this down to 67.5, depending on what your book has. McLaurin has been the ultimate boomer bust wide receiver this year. He has 3 games of 107 yards or more. The rest of the games have been 62 yards or less, nothing in between. He's gone under 60 yards in 4 out of his last 5. Last week he had 6 catches, but he only managed 59 yards, and teams have done a really good job taking away the long ball from him recently. This week they played the number 1 pass defense in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers. They're only allowing 173.7 yards a game passing. Washington does not have a real strong number 2 option at wide receiver, so it's getting easier for opposing teams to hold McLaurin in check. Carolina should take him away, take the under on his receiving yards. Up next, I'm taking another under, Ezekiel Elliott, under 69.5 yards rushing. He's really been slowing down. I don't know if he's just getting worn down a little bit or if there's an injury. Maybe it's just the flow of the offense, but his rushing yards have gone down in 5 straight games. He's not gotten over 17 carries in 4 straight games. His rushing totals the last 3 games are 50, 51, and 41. And this week is a matchup against the Chiefs. Sounds like a great matchup for Zeke, but I think it's going to be a big Dak Prescott game. The Chiefs are the 3rd worst pass defense in the league. PFF grades the Chiefs' defensive line as the 2nd worst in the league. Tony Pollard is getting carries as well. All signs point to a really big day from Dak and the Dallas pass attack. Don't be surprised to see Zeke do more damage in the passing game rather than the running. I see Zeke not getting quite enough carries in the running game to get over this total. This under's hit in 4 straight games, so take Zeke under. And for the last play, I'm going with the Saints first quarter under. This play has been money all year. They are 7-2 to the under in the first quarter, and this is a great matchup for them. They're the best rush defense in the league, and they're playing the Eagles, who want to try and run the ball. Jalen Hurts can be limited if you can shut down the running game. And we got the Saints throwing out Trevor Siemian again, who played much better than I thought he would. They can be a little clunky in the first quarter, so expect this to be a slow-paced, sloppy game to start off with. First quarter under is the play here, and those are your 3 props in 3 minutes. Back to you, Prez.
Andy Lang, that was awesome, dude. I mean, literally the Sam Ponder of prop betting. Andy, take a minute. Sam Ponder, man. Thoughts?
She's better at her job than Christian Ponder.
Okay. And there you go. For all you people who think I'm inappropriate, Andy balances me with appropriateness. Andy Lang, everybody. We love having you on. Thanks for joining us, brother. Best bets and teasers. Let's go. I'm passing on teasers. I got nothing as far as best bets. Take the Chargers minus whatever the hell they are all the way up to 7, minus 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. They're going to slaughter the Steelers. Take Miami minus 2.5 to minus 3 over the Jets. And as far as over goes, take the Vegas Raiders over the total. Guys, take advantage of that $99 offer. It's really good. It ends on Sunday night. I mean, $99 for a week of anybody's sport. You want to play Andy Lang in NFL for a month? $99. I meant a month, not a week, a full month. 4 days is $99. You get 30 days for the price of 4 days. You can buy my NFL a month, $99. On and on and on and on and on. Anyway, I'm off to Punta Cana. We'll be doing this show live from a beach next week. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. I'm Lawrence Presman. Thank you guys so much. Please keep those comments coming. They're greatly appreciated. I love you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye.